What's the power at, computer? Power is at 15%. Alright, cut power to propulsion systems and kill the autopilot. Are you sure you want to do this? Doing so will ensure we just drift in space. But we can divert the power to oxygen and life support. Are you sure you want to drift even longer in space? At this point, it's a given. So prioritize my life first and just do it. Better make videos to keep myself occupied somehow. I feel like someone has reviewed one of the recent MLP episodes, so I'm just going to tackle the other terrible one. That being the bar trivia one. Now, I haven't watched other people review these episodes at all, so I don't know what the consensus is about them. If I say anything that others have mentioned, then it is of pure coincidence. So, let's get started with a trivial problem. So it opens up with Spike trying to get Twilight to sleep, but Twilight is too excited and just kinda appears crazy, even answering Spike's normal questions after ringing a bell. I'm so glad Twilight's crazy tendencies have only gotten more under control, otherwise I'd start to think she hasn't made any progress on them. After the credits, we get immediately to the important part, with Twilight explaining the rules of Trivia Trot to Spike as they walk over to where it's being held. Not only that, Twilight has calculated everything about the game down on her chart so she can get her three-peat, aka third win in a row. However, Pinkie Pie is here, and since she's not a normal contestant, she obviously gets paired up with Twilight for crazy shenanigans to ensue, and because of course it has to follow the plot of the worst player getting paired with the best player and becoming friends after a weird sequence of the best player not winning that much. And this is where the problem I have with the episode arises. Twilight becomes a terrible person just so she can win, resorting to seemingly evil methods just for a win. But before I get into all that, let's continue following the plot. First question goes off and Pinkie screws it up for Twilight, and apparently negative points exist in this game. So after losing 1 point, Twilight basically tells her to shut up and not answer questions, which helps Twilight get back in the game. We get a small intervention period, because apparently those exist, and Twilight appears unhinged already, and talks about how she knows Pinkie is trying her best, but says that she might have to answer everything herself. Which begs the question, why hasn't she already been doing that? She clearly cares so much about her three-peats, and she has a vast amount of knowledge, so she could easily be able to find a way to reach the bell before Pinkie or anyone else. But no, instead we have to have partially on-screen dilemma to make Pinkie show how dumb she is when it comes to trivia and make us sympathize with Twilight, I guess. And we haven't even gotten to the worst parts of this episode yet. Spike tries to reason with her, which instead just leads to Twilight becoming what is known as a rules lawyer, or basically a person who knows the rules to a game and will enforce even the most obscure rule to get their way or prove others wrong. And she does this many a time just to bring others down so she can have a better chance at winning. But this gets out of hand to where she tries to not only establish a rule against Maud and Mudbriar, because they're winning, but she also does something to disqualify her partner Pinkie Pie. But only after having a mess of meme faces after a category that Pinkie knows shows up, and Twilight just assumes that Pinkie will screw up again, as well as going out of her way to make sure Pinkie can't ring the bell. After finding her way to disqualify Pinkie, Twilight uses a rule so that Sunburst becomes her new partner through a weird loophole in which players with disqualified players can form a new team with the same amount of points. However, Sunburst comes in and acts like how Twilight did to Pinkie, making sure she can't hit the bell, answer all the questions to get back in the game, and even tries to get Twilight disqualified, funny enough. After Twilight calls Sunburst out for the DQ attempt and him leaving to reform his team with Cranky, who has now woken up, she goes to talk with Pinkie and reconcile. Which of course happens, and they restart from 0 points because then they get to have fun with the game finally. Yep, everything is alright because they get to have fun now, as a team.
Oh, shit!
This episode was completely terrible. There is no justification for how Twilight acted towards Pinkie outside of her being a selfish and terrible person. I don't buy for 1 second that she is genuinely sorry for treating Pinkie Pie terribly. She is only sorry because she was treated in the same manner she treated Pinkie Pie. She gets fair treatment and realizes how bad it feels. Aside from that, her rule lawyering phase showed her willingness to win even at the cost of compromising the fun of others and their scores. It was just underhanded tactics, or in the wise words of Hank Hill,
"Dirty pool, mister. Dirty pool."
Pinky is the victim in all of this because she was denied her fun. I also hate the animation because of all the stupid faces made specifically for memes. It gives off the feel that they don't even want to try to write funny things and instead just rely on weird animation that comes and goes in seconds. And just a small nitpick here, but the questions we were shown on screen were all just references to previous episodes, which could have been a good way if they wanted to hand out their lore, but whatever. You know what's even the lesson here? It definitely isn't focus on having fun at a game rather than winning, or don't throw your friends under the bus just for victory. I don't know what it is. What are we supposed to get from this? As for a score, this is just another 0 out of 10. Nothing good in this episode, in my opinion. Hope y'all were at least a little entertained by my short rant on this episode. I do welcome episodes like this because I've recently been appreciating more slice-of-life series, mainly in anime, and I like for MLP to get back to its original way of storytelling. But the current writers don't seem to be able to deliver those kind of good episodes that can teach a good lesson. Instead, it wants to focus more on the lore or the Legion of Dumb and Grogar, and grab the older audience who cares about that crap. I'm Femwolf, and I'll see you all later. Battery at less than 10%. What the heck are you powering outside of oxygen control? The map system, the emergency flare system, and the messaging system. I don't think we'll need the messaging system. There is an unread message in the system from an unidentified sender. Subject line: do you need assistance? Huh? Help? Read it to me first. Me and my associates have found your ship drifting in space. Respond with your coordinates and we will be there as soon as possible. Send them the coordinates. Are you sure? At this point, I'll take anything if it means a chance of safety. Message and coordinates sent. Sorry, Wolf and Human Wolf. Seems you two are gonna be on your own.